So tonight I want to talk about how to find happiness. And I know in one of our first sessions we talk about how I smell happiness. So we find that today in America, unhappiness is in epidemic proportions. And what is even sadder is that because people are unhappy, people do detrimental things to themselves. Recently, I've been doing a bunch of work on trauma and neuroplasticity of the brain, and also to look at when a person has gone through so much trauma in their life, their brains are so wired for trauma, they don't know how to function in peace times. And to me, when I hear PTSD, most people think about military people. And sad statistic is that we have more military personnel who die by their own hand than on the battlefield because they can't adjust. When I was in Las Vegas, one woman came to my table and said, so and so told me I have got to come and meet you. I said, okay, here I am. Hi, how are you? And we got talking, and I said, have a seat. I usually have a nice chair by my table. I said, sit down, and what can I do for you? And I saw that behind her eyes, even though her face was smiling, was huge sadness. So I gently touched her on the hand, and I said, I'm sorry you feel so sad. I feel sorry that, I sense a deep sense of sadness in you. And then she says, how did you know? And she's still trying to smile. And then she said, next weekend, Labor Day weekend, is exactly a year we lost our son. He was 27 years old. He was a Marine, went to Afghanistan, came home, couldn't adjust, and he died by his own hand. So how do you comfort someone with that kind of grief? It's not easy. And so in order for us to have a sense of happiness, jump from extreme grief to even just baseline happiness, we have to know what are the elements in life we need to gather enough to have enough critical mass to say, hey, I'm happy. Nobody's 100% happy. Nobody's 100% sad. And whether we are happy or whether we are sad is by our own doing, because God gave us choice. So happiness is a choice. Happiness requires effort. It requires us to contain it, because if we don't contain it, it's too effusive, it's too ethereal, it's too abstract for us to know what happiness is. What does he look like, and what would I do with him if I found him? So I looked at many things about how people, I've got this cute little thing to pass around. Lessons from the bees, okay? Bees gotta, we gotta, bees gotta buzz, birds gotta fly. I don't know who wrote this, but I added the last line. We gotta breathe, we gotta sing and eat and sleep and weep and laugh and jump, run, create, swim, grow, dance, frown, work, paint, stretch, read, lose, gain, invent, howl, chant, shrink, love, grin, build, see. Be alive and happy as the bees. You see, bees don't have therapists. Bees don't complain. So the message is just be. We can look at what makes us happy or what makes us unhappy. On a scale to 10, I'm just going around the room. 10 is I'm ecstatically happy. My face is cracking with my smile, kind of happy. Give me a number.
3.
Right now, 3. Okay, give me a number.
6.
6.
8.
8.
10.
10.
5.
5.
6.
6.
4.
4.
What about you?
Right now, I say I'm about a 9.5. Yeah, I like to leave half a point for growth. So it's a choice, whatever that number is. Happiness, just like people say, health is absence of disease. Happiness is the absence of suffering. You can't suffer and be happy at the same time. It's kind of perverse if you do. Right? You can't be happy and angry at the same time. So emotion happens in one time, one space. So you can choose. Some people say, oh, I gotta water the grass. Oh, I gotta buy my wife a present. Oh, I gotta. You know, the words we use, you have to. You have to. No, you don't have to do anything. And you don't even have to breathe. Your brain breathes for you. Isn't that amazing? You don't even have to make an effort to take a breath. We are all created as perfect, amazing machines. With one thing, we were given choice. Right? God, the universe, the creator, whatever you want to say this energy is, the big I, gave us choice. And because the choice was given to us, it's so easy to blame that deity, that entity for all the bad choices we made. But because we have choice, we can choose to say, I have to go to work, or you can choose to say, I get to go to work. It's a privilege. I heard someone said, well, you know, this couple was complaining about how small their house was, how small their car was, and how the neighbor had more than they did, and blah, blah, blah. Until one day, he lost his job. And they struggled, and they almost lost the house. And the very last month, just before the bank came to foreclose on them, they were able to refi and keep the house. And all of a sudden, their attitude changed. We get to keep this house. Oh, how wonderful this house is. How wonderful. Even if the toilet leaks, how wonderful we have a toilet that leaks. Right? We got to do that. So it is often our attitude that determines the degree of happiness we have. And I know many people like to hide their age. I am very excited to say I'm 63 years old, and by November I will be 64 years old, because I buried my sister when she was 41. I spoke at my brother's memorial service. He died at 44. I saw my father give up his last breath. He was 50. I flew back in time, not in time to attend the funeral, but in time to be there to comfort the 4-year-old son of my brother who dropped dead 2 weeks before he was 50. I saw the remains of my ex-father-in-law who took his own life in the garage. I saw what remained of that body. I know what it's like to lose people long before it's their time to go. You know, I could say, oh dang, this old body, I've never been this old. True, I've never been this old. I've never been this fat. True, I've never been this heavy in my life, except for pregnancy. But then I also say, I've never been this happy. I've never been this happy. I have a husband who loves me no matter what. I know he would still love me whether I have boobs or not, whether I have teeth or not, because he knows I love him just as much now that he has no hair. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to correct my 9.5 to a 10, right? And make room for a new scale if I could get beyond this happiness. So when we say we're not happy, whatever number you are at, I'm going to go around the room and say, let's see if we can imagine what it will take for us right here, right now, to be 10% happier than we were 5 minutes ago. What will it take for you to move 10%?
Maybe conversation with my mother-in-law.
Okay. Call her now. Bring up the phone. We'll all say hello.
You really want me to call her?
Would that make you happy?
Yes, but I wanted to tell her something.
Is it private?
Kind of. It's kind of an apology for being petty yesterday.
Well, shoot, we all heard that already, so tell her now.
It's embarrassing because I was being petty over something petty.
Because it's petty.
Okay.
Say
But
for
it's
what
been
it is.
bothering me that I did it,
Okay.
so I was like, it'll make me happy to get it
Gina,
out.
do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have to know you're on?
It's up to you. Just tell her. And then say bye.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. You're on the speakerphone. I figure I'd give you a heads up. We're in our group. I'm in my I'm with Dr. K.
Oh.
And I wanted to...
Hi, everybody.
And she asked me what would it take to be 10% happier, and I said probably to get a conversation with my mother-in-law. And she said, well, call her. And I said, but it's petty. And she encouraged me to call you, but I wanted to apologize for being upset about those avocados at dinner. I told you guys it was petty. I'm sure you sense that I got a little bit upset when I found out the and I really worked hard to snap myself out of it, but I didn't apologize. So I'm very sorry, Mom, but that's the reason I shut down.
I knew that.
Okay, here's Dr. K speaking, Mrs. Dandy. And I'm going to suggest you do not accept her apology. She has to make amends. She will bring the avocados next time.
Okay, that would be great. We worked it out. I didn't say anything and you didn't say anything and it worked out fine. And I love you.
I love you too, Mom.
All right, sweetheart.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Good evening to you.
Bye.
I think that she made you feel so special, and when you felt like that specialness was being sliced up
shared,
for
right.
everybody shared, and it made you feel less special. And she sounds like somebody that everybody would want her to think that we were special.
Yeah, she's like that, and it's my own problem because also I was an only child, so that might explain the pettiness a little bit. But
You
that's
feel
what it
better
was.
now?
Yes.
She's 10%
Yes.
better?
10% better.
I am because that was bothering me that I did that to her.
Good.
That I allowed myself to get to that level.
I think that's a very important thing to note. And in order for us to have a peace of mind, is never leave these little gut nudges alone.
Okay.
You want to clear the air, and that's it. But if you let it sit and sweep under the carpet, it will grow, it will grow, it will grow. If you blow up, all you lose is maybe your face and the other person's face. But if you don't blow up, it might grow into a tumor. So you have to let the puppies out and say it for what it is. So great. So you feel 10% happier?
Yes.
Yay! And you know what? We all think you're rather special.
Yes. Plus, she sounds
Thank
so
you.
nice.
I'm petty though. I can be very petty, so I gotta work on it.
Okay, what you want to work on is not claim that you're petty, because what you say becomes your reality. That's the next point I want to make. In order for us to create happiness for ourselves, we have to first notice it, acknowledge it, and then appreciate it. If you go around saying I'm petty, you will be petty. But if you like to fake it until you make it, go around with a grin on your face and say, I'm really a very nice person. One day it will come true. If you go around saying I'm really a nasty person, and you will grow horns on your head one day and be a very nasty person. So what you conceive in your mind, a thought form. This is the physics of creating your own reality. It starts from a thought form, and then it filters into your brain and it becomes an idea. The idea becomes an attitude. The attitude becomes verbalized. And then you start speaking it. You will start doing it. You do it often enough, it becomes a habit. You're training your brain to be that. And then in time, it becomes your character. It becomes your reality. That's why what we say to our children, mold them. If you keep telling a child, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, and no wonder one day he grows up and he wakes up in the morning and says, duh, why would anybody expect anything worth anything to come out of me? The whole world has already condemned me to be stupid. I might as well resign to be that. Right? Some of you might have heard this story before. See this mark on my arm? When I was a little girl, I asked my mom, why do I have that spot on my arm? I can't wash it off. It's not even dirt. So my mom said, well, child, you know, when babies are born, they come down this assembly line and God, she checks everyone to make sure everyone is perfect. When God came to you, and I would use the female pronoun for this God because he is in the word she. I said, when it came to you, God stopped the line, touched you right there and made that mark and said, this one is extra special. My mother had never been in a classroom until she sat in my classroom. So, yes, she's never been schooled, but it doesn't mean she's uneducated. She was wise, and she created that story that molded my life. And I bought that hook, line, and sinker. So when I had to go through some very difficult challenges in my life, somehow in the back of my mind, a small voice says, and this one is extra special. And so my logical brain will say, wow, gosh, no wonder I've been given the hardest problems to solve, because God says I'm extra special, so if anyone can tackle this one, I'm the one. I've been given the tough problems to solve in this world because Mom told me God says I'm extra special. Therefore, I'm extra special. One sentence has molded my life. One sentence. Now my grandchild, every now and then we compare our extra specials because she too has a spot on her arm. And I said, yes, she does. So I said, hey, did your extra special, is it still there? Did you wash it? No, Gammy, I'm still extra special, see? So we create our own reality. And so what is your level of happiness right now?
8.5.
8.5? What would it take to get to 9.5 for you tonight, right here, right now?
Can I get some more water for my tea?
Well, help yourself. You see, it doesn't take much. Water for tea raised her happiness. You're already 10.
I'm a 10.
Now you're 10, and you're content. There's nothing you need right now.
To tell Patricia how much I love her.
Well, tell her.
I'm so happy to be here.
Linda.
Well, I said 6. I don't know why I picked that, just because it was sort of in the middle. I wish I could get a start on getting my act together.
Okay, what is one thing that you can do differently from what you've always done? Give me a pen. Give Linda a pen because I'm going to show her how she can do one thing different from what she's always done.
I'll pick a chore to do and actually do it
Okay.
each day.
Okay, I'm going to give you a pen and you're going to sign your name with your other hand.
With my left hand, okay.
You might want to do it directly on the desk, that mess it up.
I really am so not ambidextrous. So not.
Okay, everybody pay attention to everything she does or say from the moment I tell her to write with her left hand. How,
Pretty
no,
good.
quiet. How do you feel about it?
I feel like I've accomplished something.
Okay. Are you pleased with it?
Yes. Yes.
How did you feel when I first asked you to do it?
I felt like I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Okay. And what did you say immediately?
I said, well, I have to try.
No, you said I can't do it.
So I'm not ambidextrous.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not very this, and you immediately slap yourself.
Right.
Okay, and then proceed. Then you picked up the pen, and tell me how you felt when you picked up the pen and start to write.
I felt surprisingly good, and the way my first name looks is pretty much like it looks when I write with my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel so foreign.
Okay.
I felt like I had more control.
Okay. Now that you've finished writing it, how do you feel about having done it?
I feel good.
Okay. All right. Turn the paper over and do it again.
Can't do the A.
Now, I wish we had camera on her. Watch her facial expressions as she did it the second time. What did you notice?
You became frustrated when you were finishing up your D and you struggled with the A, and then she immediately said, I can't do the A.
Okay. What did you notice?
I noticed the smile on her face when she got to the end.
Yes.
All right. What did you notice, Adrian? You're directly across the room.
She started smiling. Even at the first, when she got halfway through, she was smiling. And
Okay.
I've sat across from her for 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
It's the first time I've seen you smile.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And in all the meetings that we've been at, you've never smiled. And
Okay.
that halfway through your name, you started smiling.
Okay. Tina?
I noticed the smile also, and I'm wondering if her middle name's Victoria or Valerie or something.
It's Virginia.
Virginia's
Awesome.
pretty name. Because I saw you did the V with conviction both
Yeah.
times.
Uh-huh.
Tricia?
I saw you smile, and your eyes have opened up, and your face became flushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like energy in your face.
I can believe that.
What did you see?
Your cheeks became rose.
Yeah.
Okay. Make room and do it the third time.
I'm happiest when I'm writing my first name. It's turning out really well.
Yeah, it's very artistic. Even.
Now, even though you're not trained to look for energy, you can see energy shifts in her. Okay, what do you observe, Adrian?
But this time she was more fluid with it. She was really enjoying the whole way through it.
Yes, I'd say that was a face of enjoyment. Everybody agrees? Anybody notice anything different? Tricia?
That when she held the pen, you actually looked a little bit more confident, and your shoulders went up, and you sat up a little straighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I noticed there was no self-doubt at all in this one. She didn't
Yes.
say anything negative
She
about
did not
herself.
say
Yes.
anything negative this
And her
time.
pen didn't stop.
Yeah.
It just flowed.
Mm-hmm. Claudia?
And you wrote it clear.
Yeah.
Pretty much what everybody else said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
You know what I like about this last one is that it kind of got messed up at the end, and I just laughed.
Mhm.
What was happening is that actually the Linda part always looks good, and the V always looks enthusiastic. And then I usually, to some degree, mess up the last name, and that was actually the worst one. But I didn't feel challenged about being judged or.
What's your happiness number at this very instant?
7.5.
See how easy it is to bring happiness to yourself? You don't have to worry about tomorrow. And if I may, Claudia, when I asked you,
that's fine.
you were so concerned about your husband's future. You were not with us when I asked you the question, how happy are you?
I was actually, how do you say this? Do you really want to go there? I think is more what I'm thinking. If I'm asked the question of why do you feel this way, do I really want to go to say why I feel that way, or do I want to make something up?
Right, I understand that because
So,
for that moment, whoever it is, if you're not feeling the number you wish you could be feeling, you are stuck at a certain number. And you can change it for one instant. What I've just demonstrated is something as simple as doing something you don't usually do and see how it changes how you feel. It's something so simple. I don't need to go and buy an expensive, brain scan machine. A pen and a piece of paper, and you do something. And I can tell you, I've done it with a client. This is a client that hired me to fly to Las Vegas to feng shui their home. And it's, for me, I'm also a very unusual feng shui practitioner. I do hypnotherapy first before I do feng shui, because if I don't get your energies in order, I can set your house energies in order. You just step in it and you throw it out of kilter. So I said, I need to fix your energies before I fix your environment's energy. And the man of the house was very stuck in certain ways. So I said, let's do something fun. Bring out a piece of paper. Write your name in your other hand. And he almost hyperventilated. I kid you not. He was scared. He goes, no, can't do it. No, he literally screamed and he said, no, can't do that. I said, yes, you can. And his 10-year-old said, oh, Daddy, yes, you can. Worse, no pressure, right? 10-year-old telling you should do something. So finally, he got himself down to write, and he was scared. You can see his hand shaking. He said, I cannot do this. He was almost in tears. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Now, I took a risk, and I trust that you trust me, that I'm not making fun of you, and it worked out fine. But in that instant, this man was terrified. And you think it's something so benign as picking up a pen, writing it in his other hand. And he wrote it once, he wrote it twice. He wrote it about at least over 25 times. I will not stop until he wrote his name and smiled. I just said, do it again, and again, and again, and again. He filled 2 sheets of paper with it. And finally, he did it without berating himself. He did it fluently. He did it without judgment. And finally, he accepted the imperfections. Now, this man's from India. He grew up with very strict perfectionist guidelines that he would not want to do anything imperfect. Certainly not in front of his son, his wife, and definitely not in front of me. So in that little exercise with him, I helped him break a limiting belief. I said, 10, 15 minutes ago, you were terrified at this task. How do you feel now? And suddenly he just looked up to me and smiled. He said, it's really not so bad, is it? I said, it's not bad at all. In fact, I said, look at your signature now after practicing for 25 times. How do you feel? He says, it feels good. It's not as nice as if I write it with my right hand, but it's fine. And I said, it's not perfect. He goes, no, it's not perfect. I said, the A looks kind of wonky. He goes, yeah. But you know what? He learned to accept himself just the way he is. And that was a huge test. In fact, that assignment was more about him and his wife than about the house. The house was clean and beautiful. And I said, there's not much needs to be done with the house. There's a lot to need to be done between you and your wife. So yeah, that made help them change their attitude about how they perceive their lives. It's our perceptions that become our truth. If you perceive this to be a good thing, you're right. If you perceive this to be a bad thing, you're right. Now you see Linda can't stop smiling. Something so small.
It seems like a really positive distraction because it's so easy for me and probably most people to get very focused on the things that are bugging us or making us unhappy or that we want to change. But while doing this task, which was very foreign to me, I could not concentrate on that other.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Most people are right-handed. It works better for right-handed people because I made you write with your left hand, and in so doing, I have activated your right brain. You're no longer analyzing. You're allowing yourself to feel.
Right.
And so if you're stuck in a problem you're trying to solve, do this. Take your left hand, everybody. Shake your left hand. Shake your left. You see the brain hemispheres cross, so the left hand activates the right brain. My singing teacher taught me that. You want to sing with emotion, you flip your left hand. You activate your feelings. So if you're talking to your spouse and he's being a grouch, you take his left hand and you shake it.
There you go.
Now you see, my husband is such a perfect husband because he comes already primed. He's a left-hander. He uses his left hand for most everything, so he's already a very emotionally rich individual. And he's sensitive. So if you haven't found a spouse yet, next time you look for a spouse, check to see if he's left-handed. It saves you a lot of trouble.